No, your eyes do not deceive you. We said going into it, we said it would be the best kept secret in maybe modern professional wrestling history, but you can see it right there. Former AEW World Champion, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk is back in WWE after nearly a decade away from the company. He walked out after the Royal Rumble, the Monday Night Raw after the Royal Rumble in 2014, and CM Punk is back. All of the reporting said CM Punk wasn't going to be back. All of the reporting said, no, from everyone we've spoken to, CM Punk is not going to be back. Don't tune in if you're expecting to see CM Punk. Don't buy a ticket if you're expecting to see CM Punk. Well, if you did with hope, if you did with maybe some kind of deep down feeling that CM Punk was going to arrive, then you were right to. Because CM Punk, at the end, after the conclusion of the WarGames match this evening, CM Punk has showed up. CM Punk is back in WWE with the remastered version. That was the giveaway. If you recall, yesterday was it, or the day before? I even forget at this point. Yeah. The new remastered version of Cult of Personality came out. Live in Color had put out a new version of the Cult of Personality, and everyone said, it's just them playing on it. They're just playing on that CM Punk's going to be coming back. He's not actually going to be coming back. Don't get your hopes up that CM Punk's going to come back. Don't believe that he's coming back. Well, if you believe it, you are right to believe it, because CM Punk has returned to the WWE for the first time in nearly a decade. And you know what? It's a very, 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 very surprising conclusion. I'll be honest with you. I'll be totally frank and transparent. I said it to you guys previously. I put the poll in the chat for the watch long. I had the poll there all night. And the question was, is CM Punk going to return to WWE? And my initial prediction was no. I didn't think CM Punk was going to come back this evening, because that's what all of the reporting had said as well. All of the reporting had said, CM Punk's not coming back. People in WWE don't like him. This, that, and the other. None of the top talent have been told that CM Punk is coming back, but he's there. He is there. He closed out the pay-per-view with the remastered version of Cult of Personality by Live in Color. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's not that often that I'm at a loss for words, but truly I am at a loss for words. I mean, it cannot be overstated how significant that is, that CM Punk, everything that this guy has been through with WWE in particular, forget the AEW stuff, right? Everything that he's been through with WWE. He walked out creatively frustrated. He said it's the place that got him sick in the first place. And he was in litigation with WWE. They fired him on his wedding day. Vince McMahon had to come out and publicly apologize for that and say, we didn't know, that was just an accident. He's back. Triple H picked up the phone. And the story behind this has got to be, beyond anything really that we've probably ever seen. Because if this was in the works for a while, then it has to be, again, the best kept secret, I think, in pro wrestling history. Because all of the media, Dave Meltzer said it in Friday's Observer, right? When he said all of the sides, WWE and CM Punk, they're all saying no, that he's not going to be there, that it's not happening. But there is a possibility that it could be a closely kept, closely guarded secret, and just nobody knows. And if you're saying who would have known about this, obviously Punk, Triple H, maybe a handful of others. The reporting around this story is going to be absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. As for what he does next, we haven't even thought about what does he do next. What does he do now? Is he on Raw on Monday? Do we not see him again for weeks? What happens? What's the reaction backstage? If all of that reporting is right, because again, I don't think the entire wrestling journalistic world was completely worked, right? So those sources that they've spoken to in WWE that said, I don't like Phil. I don't want Phil to come back. Well, Phil's back now. So what are you going to do about that? We brought you the story early on today. It was an exclusive brought to everyone by Wrestle Purists. And they said that what they had heard is that Punk had said to people close to him that he'd recently been talking to people in WWE and talking to people on the roster as well. They said he'd been talking to people on the roster. And I said at the beginning of the watch-along that to me that felt significant. Why does that feel significant? Because if he'd been talking to people on the roster that were high up, that to me felt like trying to mend bridges and trying to put stuff in the past. And if you think back to the Young Bucks issues that he had, by all accounts, Punk was willing to put the past in the past and put the past behind him. It was the elite that didn't want to, that didn't want to talk to Punk. So this is a developing story. So if you see me kind of look to the left or whatever whilst this is going on, because I want to try and bring you as much as up-to-date information as we can. So Fightful have just tweeted, this is the information that they have as of right now. CM Punk told at least one person close to him he had an hour-long conversation with Triple H last week. WWE staff, reps, creative had no idea. He walked through the back in plain sight minutes before he appeared. They had cleared an area out. Triple H took over calling the show in the last couple of minutes and called for the copyright logo. Even many in production didn't know. So by all accounts, legitimately, hardly anyone knew that, I guess, Punk spoke to Triple H for an hour last week. Reps, creative, no idea. That's why I say, like, what does he do now? Because nothing's been set up for Punk to do. There's been no sort of hints or anything. Like, does he feud with Nakamura? Nakamura wasn't even there. Nakamura wasn't even in Chicago tonight, right? So that's crazy. And basically, the way that they're reporting it now is that Punk spoke to Triple H last week, and then a few minutes before he walks out, he just shows up in Gorilla. Everyone's like, what the fuck is Phil doing here? And then Triple H takes over the show. The headsets goes, get up the copyright logo. They put it up, and then Punk walks out. So again, it looks like that it's, as I mentioned, one of the best kept secrets in pro wrestling history. And it's, you know what it's also going to do as well? It's also going to lead to those people that, that'll be like, never basically believe anything that's put out there. That's what that's going to double down now as well. Merchandise has also just been released by WWE as well. Let me save this image. I'll be able to get it up on the screen in just a second, actually. As I mentioned, guys, we're flying by the seat of our pants here. We are live, and we're reacting to this in real time. If you haven't already, guys, we've got over nearly 240 people watching. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. We're 15 away from 14,900. I mean, who knows? We could get to 15,000 tonight. If everyone subscribes, if you're a new subscriber, do what you got to do. Click the subscribe button. Let's get Punk's merch up on the screen. To again just kind of confirm that this is a real thing. Here we go. There's Punk's merchandise right there. That is brand new CM Punk merchandise that's just been released by WWE. If we open that up a bit more, Survivor Series 2013 WarGames Chicago, and with the Punk fist and the lightning bolt, that merch is real. That merch is very, very real. I mean, let me know in the chat, what would you like to see CM Punk do now that he's back? I mean, they didn't have commentary sell it. They didn't have commentary say anything about it as well. He just appeared. They sort of let it play out, and then they went off the air. So what would you like to see Punk do? I mean, surely you open Raw on Monday with Punk coming out. You can't even make that be the main event segment of the show. You start it with Punk coming out. That's it. Now, by all accounts, Triple H has gone into the press conference and says, let's talk about the big return, R-Truth, as well. I'm just scrolling through to see if we've got any more details coming out of the press conference as well. We'll have to wait and see. Once again, that report comes from Sean Ross Sapp, saying that the details that we have now, Punk told one person close to him he had an hour-long conversation with Triple H last week. WWE staff, reps, creative had no idea. He walked through the back in plain sight minutes before he appeared. They had cleared an area out. Triple H took over the calling of the show in the last couple of minutes and called for the copyright logo. Even many in production didn't know. And you know what? I said during the show that the way they were doing the Randy Orton angle during this show, I felt was very risky by WWE. That it felt like they wanted to have a mystery and they wanted to do the mystery partner deal and all that kind of stuff, but they did the Randy Orton. This is what's crazy. They did the Randy Orton announcement not to tease that it was going to be CM Punk, and then they had CM Punk come out anyway. It's crazy. I mean, it's nuts. I mean, this truly is. I mean, it's like, as Chris says, it's the double bluff. I mean, it's an ultimate double bluff. You know, we're going to announce Randy because we don't want you to think that it's Punk. We're then going to do an angle on the show where we're saying that Randy isn't maybe going to come. So, and then before even Randy Orton comes out, remember, Rhea Ripley comes out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, so they tease a cash-in at the same time as well. Then Randy comes out, and to be honest, if the show had ended just without the Punk return, then you would have said, you know what, great show, Randy looks great, fantastic shape, RKOs, you know, to Dominik Mysterio, great ending, Cody gets a pin, cool. It would have been a fun ending, and I don't think people would have complained that much that Punk isn't coming back. I think, you know, people didn't expect Punk to come back, and then I didn't. I even said it on the watch along. I went, oh, there you go. So no CM Punk, and then the music hit. I believe we do actually have comments from Tony Khan at this time.
I'm serious. I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit.
That's what we've heard. From I mean, for those people in WWE, according to those close in WWE, CM Punk isn't going to be coming back.
I forgot to tell you.
Yeah. I lied!
Anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation, it would appear. My goodness me. Woohoo. Vigilante Williamson says, why do you keep saying no one expected it when there are chants and even you had graphics? I had graphics because you never know, because it's pro wrestling, right? And mainly, to be honest with you, I had the graphics of the question mark and then an explanation point because I just thought, well, that's a talking point going into it. I really didn't expect that at all. And I mean, the people that were in the building, were they chanting CM Punk because they thought he was going to appear? Or were they chanting CM Punk more because they're CM Punk fans and they wanted to let WWE know that they want him back, right? Because that was the story too, that WWE would be open to bringing Punk back if that's what the fans wanted. And you know what's funny as well? What's very, very funny is that throughout the evening, particularly in the main event, when there were CM Punk chants, immediately they were met with, you know, some boos, or they were met with, like, stop, or Randy Orton chants, because they didn't want the crowd hijacking the show. Maybe some didn't like CM Punk. But you noticed that when Punk walked out, I don't think there were many boos. I mean, maybe I'll have to go back and watch it back, because I wasn't really paying that much attention to the crowd, because I was going crazy myself, because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching what I'm watching. But did anyone hear the boos by that point? You know what I mean? Because that hometown crowd seemed pretty happy to see him back on WWE programming for the first time in a decade. So I asked the question during the watch along, when people are chanting CM Punk, are they booing? Are they booing because Are they booing because they don't like CM Punk, or are they booing because they don't want the show to be hijacked? And to me now, it kind of feels like they were booing because they didn't want that show to be hijacked. Because when Punk came out, they seemed pretty happy to see CM Punk come out. Those boos turned into cheers and turned into holy shits very, very, very fast. And the question now becomes, what happens next? Who does he go after next? Who does he face next? Because he just interrupted a bunch of baby faces. Is he going to be a baby face? Is he going to be a heel? Is he just going to be CM Punk? Doesn't he need to be a baby face? Does he need to be a heel? Does he just need to be Punk? Because that's kind of what he was in AEW in his last run there after coming back. Some places he got booed. Some places he got cheered. He made a lot of noise. And he didn't really care. It depended who he went up against. So let me put a poll in the chat whilst we're here as well. Just basically, are you happy that CM Punk is back in WWE? It's a very simple answer. Are you happy that CM Punk is back in WWE? You can vote yes, you can vote no. And if there's any problem with the poll, you can let us know in the chat as well. Of course, as I mentioned, guys, we've still got over 200 people watching, 51 likes at the moment. So let's see if we can get that to 100. As much as subscribers, we're actually only 9 subscribers away from 14,900. We're well on the road to 15K. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner. Let's see if we can hit that 14,900. It's been an absolutely wild evening. We haven't even barely started talking about the show. We're going to get through the show. We're going to be live as long as it takes. This is a pretty historic evening. I mean, to be honest with you, you got to describe it as, look, it's been a big year with a lot of news stories, both positive and negative, in the world of pro wrestling. Would you say this is the biggest story of the year in pro wrestling? Because, Punk getting fired from AEW, that was a big news story. A big news story. Punk's return to AEW earlier this year was a big news story. Is this the biggest story of the year? I mean, you could argue in terms of the wider business, Vince McMahon's return and the merger of WWE and UFC to TKO. I mean, it's been a heck of a year. Realistically, a heck of a year for news stories. But this is right up there, isn't it? This is right up there with one of the biggest news stories of the year. And it's crazy that in a show that Randy Orton returns to in-ring competition for the first time in 18 months, as of right now, nobody's talking about Randy. And I feel bad. Like, look, I feel bad for Randy in that sense because his return has been overshadowed. But I suppose 18 months... 18 months is kind of dwarfed by nearly a decade, isn't it? 18 months is nearly dwarfed by a decade, certainly. Just a bit more news as we're chatting here live. So Triple H reportedly in the press conference has said that CM Punk returning came about very quickly. It's been a long time coming. Sean Ross Sapp has just tweeted as well saying, I'm told there was no signed CM Punk with WWE contract as of this morning. Wild. So basically the suggestion is that as of right now, CM Punk, I guess, has signed a WWE contract. But as of this morning, there was no signed contract. That's how quickly things can change in pro wrestling. If indeed that is true, again, this morning in the AM, no Punk signature on the dotted line. Despite there was a conversation between Punk and Triple H last week for an hour. So again, for all of these weeks, this is what's crazy too. For the reporting since Punk was let go in, early September. So you've got all of September, all of October. I'm sure as of then, the reporting was accurate in that CM Punk, WWE, they ain't in talks. CM Punk and WWE, there's not a signed contract. CM Punk isn't coming back. Like that's what the report was in September and October. And I guess at that point, that was probably true, right? That was probably true. They're saying as of this morning, he wasn't signed. So at some point today, or maybe even when he walked to the back, when he got to the All-State Arena, he maybe signed his contract. And as of last week, he had the conversation with Triple H. But it makes me wonder actually as well, what changed in the last, let's say, a week? What's changed in the last 17 to 14 days with CM Punk and WWE? Why did Triple H feel like maybe he had to pick up the phone and call CM Punk? Because maybe a couple of weeks ago, or let's say 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe they didn't feel like they needed to do that. Whereas now, they've decided to change their mind. Again, the reporting was that they felt that, they had it in the back pocket and they could do it whenever they want. Triple H has also said at the press conference that he's extremely excited to have CM Punk back, and both he and Punk are different people compared to 10 years ago. John Alber has said that Paul Levesque just confirmed CM Punk and WWE deal came together quickly, and it wasn't anything more than speculation until just recently. He said there was no pushback from anyone in TKO, says few people knew about it past Nick Khan and himself. So, like we said, a very well-kept secret, certainly, because Triple H knew, CM Punk knew, Nick Khan, and then maybe a couple of other people maybe knew. And again, the latest reporting is that there was a conversation between Triple H and CM Punk last week for about an hour. People didn't know Punk was going to be there. He showed up, he walked out, and that was it. And Triple H took over the calling of the show. And That's crazy. And again, as of this morning, another thing to point out, as of this morning, there was not a CM Punk signed WWE contract. As of right now, I guess there is. And actually as well, Triple H has also just said that CM Punk is, quote, home in WWE. Now, other details that we still don't know, and there are so many questions here, realistically as well, aren't there? There are so many questions of, is Punk going to be full-time? Like, is he on the road full-time? Is he wrestling live events? Is he just wrestling TVs? Is he on a Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns deal where he only shows up and does 11 matches a year? Like, what are we doing? What does this look like? Is he on kind of, as I mentioned, a sort of Rey Mysterio, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker deal? You know, like Undertaker and Shawn Michaels in the mid-2000s were active, but they only really did TVs. They didn't do a ton of live events. Is that what Punk's going to do as well? I mean, he's had his injuries. He's older. He's in his 40s at this point too. This is his last big run, one would think. And, you know, the part of the reason of going to AEW in the first place was to end the career on his terms. He did a lot of shots at WWE during that time as well. Said that when he signed with WWE in, 2005, 2006, he left professional wrestling. And then he was back. Now, is he back in the world of sports entertainment? Or is CM Punk back now? The place that got him sick in the first place? There are just so many questions, aren't there? So many questions that remain unanswered. And we're going to find out in the next couple of days. Just crazy, crazy stuff. We did it, by the way, guys. We hit over 14,900. So I appreciate all of the new subscribers this evening. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. We do daily news videos talking about all things WWE, AEW, Impact /TNA, and everything New Japan Pro Wrestling, everything else in between. This is a huge news story as well. So we're going to be covering this a lot later on in tonight. I mean, sleep, who even cares about that? And tomorrow as well, as we get more details on this. So be sure to subscribe. Well on the road now to 15,000. So if you haven't already, I mean, who knows? I mean, could we even hit that this evening? I mean, that's quite a lot to go. 95 would be pretty miraculous. But if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. As you would have seen too, I feel this is, justice for Randy, because all the new subscribers are popping up with Randy Orton gifts as well. And we are 28 likes away from 100 as well. So if you haven't already, click the like button as well. We do have to talk about Survivor Series and the show itself. It feels kind of crazy because, like, there is one story coming out of it. You know, it's difficult because you don't want Punk's return to overshadow what I thought was a good show and featured a big return as well. WWE just tweeted about it as well. It's crazy. So I'm just seeing some sort of live footage, and we're seeing Michael Cole, Corey Graves talking to Seth Rollins. Does he look happy? They look confused. And I would assume genuinely they didn't know either about it. And look, Corey Graves has had his heat with CM Punk as well. So they're all talking. I'm watching this video. Michael Cole, Corey Graves talking to Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton sitting in the ring on a chair, Rhea Ripley sitting on stairs at ringside. Everyone just looks shocked in this video. Everyone genuinely looks like they don't know. And that, again, would line up with the reporting that legitimately nobody, certainly no talent genuinely knew. And their reaction to it is going to be fascinating as well. Seth Rollins looks legitimately pissed off. I'm just watching this video here. And I'm not even exaggerating here, but it does look a little bit like Seth Rollins is almost having to be sort of, not held back, but he's having to be, actually I say held back. Michael Cole looks like he's physically holding him back in this video right now. I can't show it to you as of the moment. We'll show it in a future video that we do on this. But Seth Rollins looks legitimately like he's being held back. Now, look, that could be a massive work. Rollins has gone on record several times he doesn't want CM Punk to come back. He has said he called Phil a cancer in an interview that he did with Nick Houseman, WrestleMania weekend of 2022, I believe it was. Or it might have been a bit later than that. I forget when it was. But, I mean, again, whether or not that's real, whether or not that's legitimate, we'll have to wait and see. Triple H, as I mentioned, has said that the deal for Punk to sign came together very quickly. And he's very excited about it. And it's been a long time. But this is, again, an absolutely wild situation as to what's going on at the moment. My goodness me. And now, talking about big names that have made the leap from AEW to WWE, Cody Rhodes, Jade Cargill, CM Punk. A couple of others have, technically, obviously, Brian Pillman Jr. The first one was actually Blair Davenport. Bea Priestley was all elite at one point in time, but then she obviously now she's in NXT as well. But my goodness me, what a story! Incredible, and we're actually just seeing some AEW stars retweeting their support as well. Andrade El Idolo has retweeted a post with him and CM Punk. Wow, I mean, I'm kind of, again, we're kind of just going through this as we're live as well. This is absolutely staggering and surprising, and I mean, who really saw this coming? Absolutely incredible stuff. CM Punk is back in a WWE ring. Nuts. Absolutely incredible. But again, like I said, the fallout involved in all of this is going to be fascinating. Whether or not, again, the Seth Rollins stuff is legitimate, we'll wait and see. I mean, incredible. As far as the show itself, right, we'll go through the show and then we'll circle back to this as well, because there's still so much to get into. There's so much to get into and so much drama involved in all of this as well. Again, I think the really interesting video making the rounds here is Seth Rollins' reaction. Seth Rollins' reaction to this does look quite visceral and does look quite legitimate, that he doesn't look happy. Again, it could be a work. I'm just trying to see if there are cameras pointed at him during this time, because that's usually a good indication as to whether or not it's legit. And it genuinely doesn't look to be. There doesn't look to be cameras pointed at him. He looks to be legitimately pissed off. And again, if he didn't know, or if he was, I suppose it's the case of what was he actually told as well. If you were Seth Rollins and you were told, and you asked, is CM Punk coming back? And you were told your face, no, he's not coming back. You don't have to worry about it. We wouldn't bring him back. And then Punk came back anyway. How would you feel about that? Would that piss you off? Would you be upset by that? Would you be furious by that? I mean, very, very interesting. This is a massive, massive news story. We've still got over 200 people watching, by the way, guys. 87 likes to see if we can get to 100 likes. And be sure to subscribe too. We're 90 subscribers away from 15,000 as well. Also, as well, whilst this the press conference obviously is going to be ongoing as well, every person's going to be asked about Punk in that as well. It's well, incredible. Triple H says in the post-show press conference as well, oh my God. Get ready for this picture I'm about to put up on the screen right now, folks. Get ready for this. This is a picture. I mean, you want to talk about breaking the internet, folks, yeah? That's what we talk about, breaking the internet. Get ready for this image that has just been tweeted by Paul Triple H Levesque, okay? This is, you thought you would never see this, ever. I mean, talk about a picture that is worth 1,000 words. Triple H has put the caption with that, a mighty cold day in hell. And I think he's about right with that. That is an absolutely wild picture. Wild picture. Triple H doing the point with none other than CM Punk with a WWE sign behind them in the gorilla position. A mighty cold day in hell, hashtag Survivor Series, he has said. I think he's about right, isn't he? That is a insane photo. That is one hell of a photo that I don't think anyone saw that coming. CM Punk back inside of a WWE ring. Oh my goodness me. That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, what do we think about that? Realistically. Honestly, you know, I'm a fan of, you know, pro wrestling. I want pro wrestling to thrive. I want AEW to be successful. I want WWE to be successful. I don't want a monopoly in the business. But what do you think this means for AEW at this point? I mean, this is, make no mistake, I know they fired CM Punk, but this is a massive blow. Like, it is. Like, it is a massive blow to AEW. No doubt about it. That is a blow. Just perception point of view. You can say that, you know, AEW is better off without CM Punk, and that's your prerogative, whether you believe that or not. But that is, I mean, just an incredible photo, an incredible moment. I don't think anyone would have ever seen this as a thing or coming as well. You would have never believed that photo would have existed 10 years ago. That is absolutely insane. We got over 300 people watching, by the way, guys. I'll just keep that there because that's crazy. As photos go, that's got to be right up there, to be honest, hasn't it? Wow. What are people saying in the chat at the moment? Some people saying he's a hypocrite. Joey says he's a rich hypocrite. What else? Harry says you wouldn't have believed this photo existed 10 years ago. WWE lives up to never say never. Joey says can't wait to see Paul Heyman comments. Neil says it means that AEW's going to have to smarten up their presentation, but they have no idea how to do so. Jim Y says that the first non-friendly Punk crowd, you sold out. To be honest, when it comes to anything like that, it doesn't even really matter. If the crowd could chant you sold out, it doesn't matter. Like, the crowd making noise and it's packed, you know, then I don't think they'll particularly care all that much realistically as well. But, yeah, as photos go, I mean, it almost doesn't even look real. It looks kind of AI-ish, doesn't it? That you would have never believed that that's the case. But again, hell truly has frozen over. And some could argue as well, is that the difference between, you know, a group of people that we don't get on, whatever it's business at the same time, and, you know, a group of people that, you know, they didn't want to do business? I don't know. But it's a, again, remarkable story, to say the very least, isn't it? Absolutely remarkable story. CM Punk back in WWE. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Harry also says, I guess Ryback's retiring. That was also something that Ryback had said, didn't he? If CM Punk returns, I'm retiring. Well, Ryback, some would say leave the memories alone and don't change your thing. Play the Ric Flair music. Because it looks like Ryback might be done. Because CM Punk's back inside of a WWE ring. Absolutely incredible story. Incredible story. Incredible photo. Incredible night. I was didn't believe it was going to happen realistically. It was funny because at some points in the day, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I did have those moments. You know, when you get, could he actually show up this evening? Maybe could he actually show up this evening? And he could, and he did. He showed up, and that photo is real, which is again incredible. Red Devils 99 says, was Punk a heel in AEW? I think technically he was a babyface, right? Technically he was a babyface, but it didn't really matter. It depended on the crowd, and it depended on, you know, the crowd and the opponent, and he kind of just, he played into it. And I think that will probably be the same here. I think he'll just continue to play into being. He's just notorious, isn't he? That is what he is. He's got a huge amount of notoriety. Some crowds will like him. Some crowds will hate him. And I don't think he'll particularly care. And I don't think clearly Triple H won't particularly care as well. As long as they make money, and as long as they, because you could argue it was a situation too where maybe Triple H thought that, if you really want to crush your opposition and there's a time to do it, maybe that's what Triple H felt like. Maybe he thought there's a time, because WWE is so red hot at the moment as well, right? WWE is so red hot. They're so on fire. The ratings are up year over year. They've already signed contracts for most of their TV deals apart from Raw. I mean, they sold out Chicago tonight. They were selling Chicago out without Punk, even about the teasers of Punk. They were going to sell out that show regardless. But now maybe they just think, well, we can do even more. We can do even more business. We can sell even more tickets. We can get the ratings up even higher as well than we currently are at the moment. Maybe that's what they think. But again, I keep looking at that picture and again, can't believe it's a thing. And maybe look, the wheels were in motion earlier this year when Punk arrived backstage at a Monday Night Raw in Chicago. He spoke to The Miz. By all accounts, he spoke to Baron Corbin, and he spoke to that guy right there. He spoke to Paul Levesque, and he wanted to smooth things out with Triple H, and I think Triple H was receptive to smoothing things out at the time. And Punk said, can I go somewhere to talk? Can we go somewhere to talk, sort of thing? And Triple H said, I got to check it with the big man, referring to Vince McMahon, who at that point was back remotely as well. And Vince said, you got to leave. And mostly it was because, CM Punk was a contracted talent at the time as well. Now he's not. And business is business. And they're happy to do business, happy to make money. And that's what they've done here. And whether it's going to lead to, it's going to lead to long-term good graces and good business, we'll have to wait and see. But it's the 26th of November today. It's a Sunday at this point. I don't know what time it is. It won't be fully Sunday in some parts of the world at the moment. But in about 2 months' time, end of January, it will be a decade. It will be 10 years since CM Punk last was in a WWE ring and he walked out. Fast forward 10 years later, he's doing the finger poke point thing with Triple H at the Allstate Arena after Survivor Series. And Triple H is in charge of creative as well. And make no mistake too, that picture to me, to be honest with you, is probably more wild than if he did one with Vince McMahon. Honestly. Because Vince will bring people back. Vince, you can say whatever about Vince, he brought them all back. Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, whoever. That to me is more wild because just throughout CM Punk's first tenure, not even necessarily the way it ended as well, but just throughout the entire tenure of CM Punk in WWE, like Triple H and CM Punk hate each other, like legitimately hated each other. Even when CM Punk was in developmental, there were rumors about Triple H, talking shit about him, and CM Punk didn't like him. By all accounts, in that meeting where CM Punk walked out of WWE, it was him, it was Triple H, it was Vince McMahon. And even Triple H said, this was what Punk said on that infamous podcast with Colt Cabana. Triple H said, I'll leave. And CM Punk said, no, you got to stay here as well. And he cussed out Triple H in that meeting. Said, I resent you for not putting me over in 2011 when I was white hot. Because they faced off against Night Champions and Triple H won. And it was the poor booking decision. It shouldn't have happened. CM Punk was white hot at the time. And Triple H had to win. And Triple H didn't even wrestle that much anymore. He was the authority figure on the television show at the time. And he said, and I don't like you. And you held me down, you squashed me, and I resent you for it. And he was meant to face CM Punk at WrestleMania that year for what it was. And CM Punk says he was going to win. But he felt like he should have won at the time, and he resented Triple H for it. So those two, there is legitimately no love lost between them. They, cannot, or used to anyway, cannot stand each other. And now he's back. And again, by all accounts, we're going to do, once this show is wrapped up, I'll do a video kind of breaking down sort of the latest information that we have involved in all of it, with what Triple H has said, with what, if we get any comments from CM Punk himself, the latest reporting from all of the journalists who I'm sure are sort of scrambling around. And again, it's going to be really interesting to see what they say because, again, all of the reports suggested that everyone was saying no. And even like sort of the latest reporting is really nobody knew that much. So what we're going to be seeing now is like, what's the reaction of those people that didn't know? Those people that kept saying, oh no, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening. What's their reaction going to be? Going, genuinely, we didn't know. Like, I can't believe it's happened. And what's the viewership and the numbers going to be like for Raw on Monday? Do they wait for Raw or do they wait until SmackDown because it's on Fox on Friday? It'll have a bigger audience. So they do both. I mean, logic would suggest you've got to, strike while the iron's hot. You can't leave it. There's no way that they can do Raw without Punk now. Realistically, they can't. Surely, I don't know. Green Man says in the press conference they said it was all thrown together in a few days. Yeah, I spoke about that earlier on. Like I said, I'll do a video talking about that more in depth. Jay Nazara says, I give it about 5 years. Punk will probably get bored and find something else to take a fuss out, to cause a fuss and over and leave. I don't even. To be honest with you, I'd be shocked if Punk was there in 5 years. Realistically, I think just let's try to have fun for a good 12 to 18 months because that's probably what's going to happen with Punk. Let's be honest. What else are people saying here? B2 Project says, even paying attention to the comments. There's a lot going on, B2 Project. I mean, we're getting literally comments from press conferences and all that kind of stuff as well. It's a pretty wild situation at the moment as well. But incredible. Absolutely incredible as well. Some people still aren't happy about it. The poll that's been in the chat for about 25 minutes. Are you happy that CM Punk is back in WWE? It's unanimously positive, to be honest with you. 89% of you saying yes. Only 11% saying no. Which is quite interesting. So it would appear that the majority is fairly happy that CM Punk is back in WWE. No doubt about that. Yeah, incredible. Absolutely insane situation. Let's see if we can, if any more information is coming up here at the moment. I don't think it is at the moment. Again, we have the quotes from Triple H saying it came together very quickly. He's back where he belongs. Who do you think CM Punk feuds with first? Because part of the problem with creative not knowing a lot about this as well is that things, I guess, haven't been lined up. So things are going to have to pivot. Things are going to have to change. You could say logically, look, he could face Rollins very quickly. Because who is Rollins really feuding with at the moment? He was feuding with the Judgment Day. They did a fake cash-in. But you could have a situation whereby Finn Bálor and Damian Priest, they're feuding with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton maybe over the tag titles. Rollins doesn't have anything to do. He looked pissed. I mean, whether or not he wants to work with him, I don't know. Because he looked legitimately pissed off. I don't know. But who does he work with, realistically? I'm not sure. And again, that's part of the problem when you react so quickly, is that you have to just sort of pivot into whatever creative is there, I suppose, as well. What else are we getting here as well? Here's PW Insiders reporting. Drew McIntyre stormed out of the building and left the Allstate Arena right after Survivor Series. It was obvious to people he was angry. It begins. PW Insiders reporting Drew McIntyre stormed out of the arena. He's not happy. And this is what I said. This is the interesting part of all of this too, is what's the fallout going to be as well? Because there was, and again, maybe this is, again, part of the work. Maybe this is part of the work. I don't know. Because we have all been worked this evening. Well, I guess we have and we haven't partially. I don't know. But are there going to be some people that think, oh, I've had enough of this? You know, Drew McIntyre, he's not signed a new contract with WWE just yet as well. I don't know. This is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. What I think I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to get and collate all of this CM Punk news and put it together into a video for you guys, I think, because there's so much going on, and this is going to be an all-night thing, I think, at the moment. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. We are 79 away from 15,000. If you haven't already, click the like button as well. I was going to do a full Survivor Series review, but we'll circle back to that. We'll do that in a news video, I think, tomorrow or something like that. I'm going to put together all of the news we've got at the moment. I'm going to put together the Triple H quotes. I'm going to put together some of the reaction from your Rollins, your McIntyres, and all that kind of stuff as well. And we'll put this into one condensed video as much as we can. So I'm going to get out of here. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. And stay tuned because more videos are very much on the horizon. Stay tuned. I'm out of here. Peace.